But here's what I want to talk about. First and foremost, I'm coming out the dough, honey, in 2026 with some heat, some fire. You hear me? We're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna put a pin in that. Um, there's so much I want to say about 2025. And 2025 for me began the night of the election. Sitting in Roland Studio in DC, the night of the election, we all have cameras in our faces. Everything that's happening in real time in that moment, we have a camera in our face. And I was trying my hardest not to look as devastated as I was. Because in that moment, I knew how bad it was. People were talking about FAFO, and I'm like, yeah, FAFO, but guess what? We about to be in that too. We about to find out too, right? That was the one thing that I kept thinking about over and over and over. What is this going to look like? What is this going to look like? We knew it was going to be bad. And as we sit here at the end of 2025, we had no idea just how bad. But that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about just how devastating and intense this year has been for so many people, for so many of us. Um, so let me try and paint a clearer picture for you all. So here's my professional picture, right? Um, I moved to the DMV area the beginning of 2024. My mom dies at the end of 2023. 2024 was all about transition and the grief. Oh, my grief was, I couldn't see. I just couldn't. It was so thick. It was so thick, um, and intense. That was a transition year. It was a year of uncertainty. Um, but what I understood was in 24 that we just had to hold on to the election, right? So my situation, my professional situation in 2024, Georgetown told me that I had to be here to teach in person. Okay, that's fine. Um, which is really the main reason why I moved to DC, right? I could no longer teach online. And because I was already at Department of the State commuting once a month, it made sense. And I was like, okay, if I'm in DC, I can, get more of a full-time situation versus having all of these different things that I'm doing. I was definitely searching for more um, kind of professional security in that. In theory, it sounds sexy to be doing 1,800,000 gazillion, jillion different things, but it's also kind of cool to go to work, do your thing, get your check, have great insurance, and you can go about planning vacations and hanging out with your friends, free of, because when you have the multiple bags, when you're doing the multiple things, here's the thing that people don't talk about. You're always booked and busy, and that's cute for a meme. It's cute for a hashtag. But in real life, booked and busy means just that. You are constantly, constantly booked and busy because you have 1,800 different things that you need to satisfy. And that's the thing about booked and busy. You have outcomes that you need to fulfill for people, right? So 24, I was in search of that kind of professional stability, right? And not doing all 11,000 gajillion billion different things. So that's one myth I kind of want to demystify about the booked and busy. Like that shit is real. Hi, Kimmy. And so for 24, a lot of challenges there. Ran out of my savings pretty much immediately. Um, that that good old, that good old 9 to 5 didn't come, and I was told, "Let's get through the election." Well, no, I don't want to put it that way. What I did know, what I started to see was, oh, okay, you just got to hold on. until the election, and everything's going to be okay. I can do that. So for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I was out there going hard for Kamala, got myself to the DNC in Chicago, and you know was a surrogate messenger in the national security space. Um, that was interesting in and of itself because there were a lot of fights that happened, a lot. And I actually had to step away from one of my organizations because of it. Like it was some real heavy dialogue that was happening. So, I go hard, go hard, go hard, go hard for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris didn't win. We're sitting there experiencing it in real time because we're live, on the Roland Martin show. And we weren't virtual. We were all together in the studio. So we were all feeling the things together. Um, we were going to go to Howard after. There was no need to go to Howard after. The mood in the studio was solemn because we knew what was about to happen. And one of the things that I was actually really worried about at first were the travel bans, because I thought he would have gone from his old playbook from the first administration, because the first National Security Act he did was a travel ban. So my mind was, okay, he's going to go to this travel ban thing again, which he's done, but it just wasn't the first thing that he came out of the gate with. The first thing he came out of the gate with was, saying DEI is the devil. So anyway, because I was a media surrogate, I was part of Women for Harris, WALS, uh, the Women's Coalition group, specifically the Messengers group. So we didn't win. The largest coalition put together in election history. We were brokenhearted. We were a lot of brokenhearted women, and we didn't know what to do. And we were just kind of leaning on each other, especially November, December, January. And so one of the incredible blessings, one of the things that I'm going to talk about, and please feel free to ask questions, chime in. Like I told you all in the beginning, my voice is a little unreliable because I'm recovering. I've been really sick, and my throat is kind of like the last bit of it to clear up, and I'm coughing. Um, so please forgive all of that. But I promise you, I'm doing way better. I promise. um, so also what's happening at the end of 2025 for me is I get an email or a text message from the wonderful, wonderful Carol, Roland Martin's producer, who we all love. We love Carol Down, honey. And she asked me to be part of the storied Thursday night panel on Roland Martin Unfiltered every Thursday. And I was like, yo, I'm like, Marisi and Dr. Carr, I'm gonna be on the famous Thursday night panel. I was so excited. I was excited. I tried to keep it on the low. And it was one of the last hurrahs at the Real Kennedy Center. Thank you so much, Kimmy. I will. I'm getting better and better every day, I promise. So anyway, my homegirl Myra, she invites me, honey, to the hottest ticket on the planet at that time. And that was DJ Nice had his 5th celebration of Club Quarantine. Y'all remember Club Quarantine? Like Club Quarantine kept a lot of us going through, through quarantine. So not only did she say, do you want to come? But y'all, we got to sit in the president's box. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I was in the president's box watching D Nice, Big Daddy Kane, Arrested Development. Y'all, we had a time, honey. We had a ball. So anyway, after that, we go to this after party. And so we're all in there. Me, my friend Myra, Roland, and Breezy, and CJ. Like, we're all in there. It's like a little RMU thing we got going on in there. And we having a ball. And so I wasn't really like, I was like, okay, be cool about being on the panel. So I didn't really say much while we were at the after party. We were just dancing and having fun, right? So then rolling, and if y'all watch RMU, y'all already know this dynamic. So when I was trying to be cool, and here go rolling. Um, oh, I'm gonna see what you got and what you can do. I was like, oh, bet. Was all it was all from that moment. But at the end of 2024, to hear that I was gonna be on the panel, the Thursday night panel, I was excited, you know, because I'd been on RMU in many different forms before, but uh, never as a weekly guest panelist on the hottest night, right? So anyway, so that's how kind of like 2025 ended. Um, the way it began was just heartache and devastation. And remember, on top of all of this, y'all, I'm grieving. I'm grieving, and my dad's sick, really sick. Um, and then this group of women just decides to do something. And so we're all kind of lamenting the election and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I was invited to all of these kind of foreign policy dinners and events where we just exhaustively went over, did an autopsy of what went wrong, what could have went right. And my little salty ass was like, y'all, anyway, let's not even, that's for another time, y'all. That's for another testimony. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. All right, Keisha. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, my Germany boo. Um, so anyway, Rhonda Fox, she gathers us all together in this space, and we all like, oh Lord, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? This man is crazy from day one, y'all. From day one, that man sat at that desk with his little hand and that pen and signed all those executive orders that collectively stopped people's hearts. Like, yo, it was just a litany of hate. It was a litany and a barrage of just hate filled executive orders. Just debilitating. Like, what we gonna do with all this? This ain't never happened before. Anyway, Rhonda gets the idea not just to have us kind of like in this group, just to kind of like be sad and shit, right? Like, what we gonna do? Because the women in the coalition, like, we about that business. We're about, we're professional women. They're donors in the group. They're messengers in the group. There are heavy hitting, anything you can imagine was in the coalition group for Kamala Harris. And all of us together trying to figure out what are we going to do. So what wind up happening from that is the persistence was born. And because we were kind of like first out the gate, we had so much buzz and energy. And from the very beginning, I felt that my creative energy was needed in that space. In addition to wherever I could offer a level of expertise, but that was just something I felt so profoundly. And one of our first kind of get-togethers we had in New York, Diane von Fosterberg invited us into her studio. The iconic, what's going on, y'all? I'm in my car. Hold on one second. The iconic Gloria Steinem was there, invited some of the Persist members in her home, had a beautiful kickoff. It was stunning. My homeboy Chuck, he was at work that day in New York, and so he stopped by to the event. And he was like, damn, what y'all got going on in here? I was like, right, we sexy, we cute. So anyway, so that was kind of like our official launch of Persist. And my girl Hannah and I, we also simultaneously started to film a documentary called Project 107, which was to talk to women that were on the trail with Kamala Harris for 107 days. And the interviews are so powerful. It just, oh, Keisha, I wish you were there too, boo. I really do wish you were there. That was a very special moment. Um, so we filmed interviews and they were powerful and incredible. And so, hi, Gilda. So I knew in a way I had found my people. And like the night before, we're in Rhonda's room, is me, Lauren, Myra, we putting together the gift bags. We got these stunning gift bags from, was it Bobby Brown, maybe? I think from Bobby Brown. It just, everything came together. It was gorgeous. The sisterhood, the chemistry, we were all focused on making sure we understood the assignment. And in that moment, the assignment was to counter the manosphere. That was our assignment. And to make sure that we had some sort of rapid response, not just to inform people about the things that was going on in this administration, but another part of Persist was to make sure that you all understood what was going on locally, where there were some very important elections that were happening around the country. So it was this mobilization, all this mobilizing that was going on. And what wound up happening is I started doing rapid. I started. Let me remember the sequence of events. Some kind of way. I don't know how this happened, really. But because we had all this buzz and all this energy, people wanted us everywhere, and we had a day on the hill. And for cis ladies, honey, we a little cute. We cute when we show up. Like everybody's like, "Hey, y'all." So anyway, right at the same time, Senator Cory Booker was putting together a content creators program on the Senate side. And there's also a complimentary one on the House side, led by Lita Jeffries. And so all these things lined up together. So just so happened, I get to be one of the first people to speak to Senator Cory Booker when he comes off his 25th hour in the gallery. Because Monique Presley and Elizabeth Houston, they understood that it was going to be a big moment. So the night before, they were there in the gallery and they broke the news to the world that this is what this man was doing. And it wound up being this huge thing. I was there the next day. He was so gracious with his time. He was funny. And I did a live in his office with all the persisters. Hi, Cynthia. Let's see who else is in here. Curtis. Hey, y'all. Be freeze first. Um, so that was such a special moment, and it was one of those moments that really kind of like showed the world, what Persist can do, who we have access to, who we are, and we're not just like, oh, this group of like bored women who are coming together to like do a thing. No, we were about our business. And then not too long after that, all the opportunities that we got, especially around healthcare, we were on the Hill a lot for healthcare, um, which is very personal for me in so many different ways. And then I also had the opportunity to talk about Persist. I don't know if you all remember when Leader Jeffries and Senator Booker did the sit-in, but we were able to be there. I was able to be on the steps with them. They gave us so much space to talk about Persist. Senator Booker talked about the importance of Black women, honey. It was a moment, y'all. It was a moment. Y'all had to be there. It was me, Monique Presley, Suzanne Lambert. Um, who else is there? I don't want to forget anybody. But anyway, so Persist, we had the streets buzzing and popping. And so from that, um, I was stepping out on faith. If y'all know what my daytime life looked like, like I'm a professor, I teach space security, things around security studies. And, I do my work at the nonprofit, that I work for. My work is very, very hands on in national security and foreign policy. Um, and so my media life has always been more of the thing that I'm doing because of my substantive work. Does that make sense? It was never like a priority because to me, I'm here. I get to talk to y'all as an expert because I do the expertise, So, um, last year for me, having the opportunities to be on the Hill, to talk to electeds, to make deeper connections and relationships with electeds, like none of that was like in my daytime work description. So all of this is kind of like not new, I don't wanna put it that way, but I just didn't see it coming. There we go, that's what I'm trying to say. I didn't see it coming, and so then I wind up hosting my own show, Nightcap. We came together, we were like, "Okay, what do we need? What are the kind of shows that we need to counter the manosphere?" Katie Fang's show was wait a damn minute. Katie was free, y'all, just like Don Lemon, honey. Katie was about to be released. She wasn't released yet. Katie was still on MSNBC at that time. Joy went before Katie. I do remember that because we had dinner that night in DC. Um, so anyway, we start talking about ideas, start building shows. And so Nightcap was supposed to be that more relaxed political show, not the hard hitting politics, boom, 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 boom in your face. It's like the persist, to have a platform for the women in persist because all the women in persist are so damn bomb. In addition to kind of like how it feels coming to your homegirl's house and shooting the shit and having a conversation, right? About things that matter. So that's what the intention of Nightcap was supposed to be. There was supposed to be a drinking element. It was supposed to be a live on Instagram in the evening. Child, Instagram Live was not the platform. Child, that wasn't it. So then we switched to StreamYard. But the intention was to counter the manosphere. Katie Fang's Wait a Damn Minute was going to be the hard hitting politics. Nightcap was going to be a stop where you want to chill and just like kind of chit chat. And then we were building other shows. I do believe that Melinda Hale still has a 60-second show on Persist. And so 2025, in as much as my grief changed this year, where my grief in 2024, I was angry. I didn't want to accept that my mom died. This year, it was more of, wow, my mom isn't here. I can't believe I can't pick up the phone and call her. So my grief changed, but still understand the grief is heavy. My mom was my world. I didn't just lose my mom, I lost my world. So I'm still grieving. Yes, This Woman's Work. Thanks, Boop. That's Melinda's show. This Woman's Work. I love it. And there's some housing insecurity stuff that's going on. A lot of shifting, a lot of transitioning in 2025. Georgetown pulls my international relations and race class. That hit really hard. And my professional life just didn't look the same. In 2024, y'all, I was in and out of Crystal City, Pentagon City all the time. So this year there was no being up at the Pentagon, all the time, or or doing stuff with the Space Force folks or being at aerospace. Like everything changed this year. So it wasn't just that we got a new president. Relationships changed. Things fundamentally changed. So where someone like me, okay, fine, there's a new president, you go off into industry, you get scooped up in a second. That is not what happened to me this year. I've never had such a lean professional year in my life. It was really, 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 really hard. Um, I knew that a Trump presidency was going to be hard. I didn't know that so many people would capitulate. I didn't know that so many people would give in to demonizing Black women. People that I thought knew my skill set, knew me as a person. None of that mattered. I heard words like um, partisan. You know that so the new way to talk about this is, oh, it's not that you wouldn't get hired because you're black and you're a woman. It's just more the partisan stuff. Partisan stuff. You mean being a black woman, which means I probably have a 92%, you know, tattoo on my forehead. Like, I mean, duh. So, this year a lot eye opening in terms of relationships. It is full of evil, Kimmy. Just looking at relationships differently in my professional world. Um, and so what I and I need y'all to understand this. To get a PhD, to be a well-rounded academic, it takes a lot of work. My PhD took 6 years. My Master's of Divinity took 3 years, and undergrad is 4 years. Um, y'all do the math. That's 15 years of school, just school, to get those three letters behind my name. Ooh, I'm getting emotional. So this year, it wasn't just that we all felt this collective heaviness, but Trump attacked every single sector that I've spent my life, my professional life, the second half of my professional life, building and cultivating. He has completely upended higher education. The national security community, the space community, things are just not the same. The energy isn't the same. It's just not the same. He has tainted it all. So my heart is breaking in 2025, not just because of my mom and my dad, or let's talk about the Altadena fires. All that all that happened. And on top of that, watching the sectors that you thought were safe, because the joke is two of the safest places to work to have longevity is the academy and the military or national security writ large. Those two sectors where I thought I would be professionally safe, 2025 showed me, no, boo, you were not. So this year was a lot of heartbreak, real heartbreak. In addition to that, I forgot about that. Um, and I like to be honest, y'all, because I'm not interested in my life seeming a certain way to people. Just like I told you at the beginning, booked and busy is cute until you're booked and busy because you got to deliver the outcomes. Yeah, 2025 can't stay off the books. I agree. um, but I don't want to dismiss the weight of this year and how many people went through some serious shit and are still going through some serious shit. This unemployment situation in 2026 is going to come roaring back. The tariffs, silver, there's so many things that are happening. These wars, these conflicts, there's so many things. But sitting in Roland Studio 2024, the night of the election, if y'all can go back and find that footage, you will see in my face how horrified I was because I knew it was about to be ugly. And going through this horrific year has given me this a lot of clarity, a lot of clarity, a lot of healing because I was forced to. And I'm okay with not being the same person. I'm actually okay with the kind of growth I was put in a pressure cooker, to kind of achieve. how I think about family and friends, and a lot of things are just different now. My One of my younger cousins recently passed because this isn't the only reason why, but her not having health insurance contributed to it. Um, Things in my life feel far more serious, and my dedication feels different. Um, Between Roland Martin Unfiltered, Persist, and then I also did a lot. I did more media with a radio station in Philly, which I really enjoy. Um, Doing the radio show with Solomon Jones, you know, being on Reese's show, um, being on Don Lemon this year. Like there have been some really incredible media highs this year. And what I did was, instead of being mired in the weight of rejection, you guys have no idea the amount of rejection I've encountered the last half of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. Has been intense. And then on top of all of that, y'all, I am still recovering from a brain injury. I still have an active case that is going on right now in California that I was hoping to be wrapped up at the beginning of December, but it wasn't. So all of this is going on. All of this is going on in 2025. And of course, it would end with me getting really, really, really sick. So 2025, bitch, you can go straight to hell. I don't ever want to see, I don't ever want to repeat or whatever that garbage was. Um, that was a hot mess, not just for me, but for a lot of us. I felt like I wanted to run through all of that. I know this isn't my typical security brief, but where there's strife, there's hope, right? So everything that happened in 2025, it literally only made me stronger. It literally only made me more determined. It literally only made me more grateful. And so I will have an announcement soon. I have an announcement coming. I'm not going to get into it right now, but I do have an announcement coming. Um, but I really had to reflect on the role that media has played in my life this year, and how, if it wasn't for media, I don't know how I would have gotten through it. So instead of looking at it as this kind of byproduct of my daytime work, as I call it, to embrace it, to put time and energy into it. Um, and that's kind of the pivot that I'm doing. I want to, I'm dedicated to the thing that kept me going this year. Um, and see what happens. Uh, but like I said, I do have an announcement coming, y'all. Sooner than later. It won't be too long. The announcement's coming sooner than later, so don't worry. But I just wanted you all to see me. I know I've been really active on Threads. My voice is kind of unreliable, but I just literally had like 3 hauls right before I did this. and uh, and anyway, but I adore this community that I'm building here on Security Brief. My commitment is a lot different to you all in 2026. There will be some changes. There are going to be some good changes. Um, and I'm going to, try my best to keep y'all updated because there's so much that's going on. Um, Venezuela, Nigeria, Greenland, you name it. You name it. And I know people have questions. Is it about oil? Yes. Is it about minerals? Yes. Yes, 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 and yes. All the things, right? Yes. But here's the thing. I'm not one of the people on social media like looking at my clock waiting for that man to die. Y'all wild for that shit. Y'all really out there in the public waiting for this man to die. Like that. I'm not saying I'm doing all of that, but what I do see is some sort of end to him, to Trump. And I'm not saying like in terms of him dying. I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but the tides have shifted. You know, it's not just the regulars, who told the world 800 times over how bad it was about to be. It's people close to him. It's MAGA. Um, it's their influencers and all this stuff. Like, the tide has definitely shifted. Epstein is truly making a dent. Um, there's no way that he can deny that he wasn't around and that he didn't do some shady shit, you know? Um, is there a smoking gun of him, uh, unfortunately, the R word of a young underage girl? I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. And I know that's what a lot of people, th- you know, th- people will play games with themselves because it's too hard to admit that they were wrong, right? So people will twist themselves inside and out, ignore everything that they've seen so far with the Epstein files, and tell themselves, well, at least, that one thing that could have shifted, that could have changed my mind, that wasn't there. And I'm going to ignore everything else. That's a level of delusion that we need to practice in order to reaffirm how we already feel, right? These, you know, people can read, people can see the same, tweets and everything that we all see, and they see the same interviews that we're forced to see on social media, and the man is not well. The way that they hounded Joe Biden over his age, the way that man was hounded after that first debate, and the person who led that charge, his ass is a French citizen now. The way mainstream media hounded Joe Biden. Now, and here's the thing, because we saw in real time the switch to the right in media in 2024. We saw that shit. And in 2025, it was solidified. Does the entire country know that he's tearing down the East Wing like it's his house? Do they know that? Is Fox News telling people that? Is Fox News telling people how much his ballroom is going to cost? Or his bunker, whatever it really is? Is Fox News telling people that? No, they're not. So mainstream media, that's a wrap. I'm happy that I got my start in media and mainstream. I had the experience. It was great. I loved being Tiffany Cross's foreign policy go-to girl. That was very special for me. I will never forget that moment in time. Um, when MSNBC was still that girl, right? Like when MSNBC was still that girl. I don't even know what she called now, honey. But anyway, I'm here to say that the thing that kept me fed, the thing that gave me community in 2025 is where I'm putting my energy in 2026. Because we got some shit to do, y'all. We have midterms to win. We have a we have a presidential election to win. We have midterms, and not only that, but there's a lot of work to do behind the scenes. And I'm very grateful to not only be a member specifically of New Media, but to be able to still be in a classroom writing and contributing to scholarship, and then also still being in a policy world. I feel so grateful that I get to sit in those three places. um, that's not usual, and I don't take it for granted. um, and I'm also grateful that I get to work on a Foreign Policy for America's scorecard. We scored all the members in Congress on their foreign policy scorecard. So I get to work on the scorecard this upcoming year. Sorry, y'all. Very excited about that. Um, so 2026, I feel like will be, I'm calling it my icon era. Not just 2026, but I'm saying this and beyond. Um, being a caregiver for so long, I there's only so much you can do as a caregiver. There's only so much freedom that you have in your personal life as a caregiver. And once I don't know why there's a level of guilt that I feel that my mom is no longer. There's a level of guilt that I feel about being happy. I'm not there yet. I can't explain it. Maybe people who have lost their parents understand. I don't know, but I'm working through this kind of guilt that I'm feeling about embracing life and joy, and it's hard to. Oh, that's weird. Device added to your account. A Mac now has access to iMac. Okay, that was random. But anyway, I just wanted to come and say, hey, y'all, I'm still here. I'm getting better every day. And I am energized for 2026. School starts next week, so I'll be back at Georgetown. So y'all will be seeing that content. I'm so excited to be back on campus. I wasn't on campus at all last semester. Um, but I also wrote 2 book chapters on space security last semester. So I was busy, y'all. Your girl was busy. Okay. Um, I have another chapter due. I just don't know if I can pull it out because I got sick. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm a hard worker, and I want to put that energy into you all to building um, this community. One thing I learned from 2025, it is about community, y'all. And we're going to need each other even more going into 2026. The attacks are about to get insane. Um, Donald Trump would do everything in his power to stay in office because the one thing y'all need to remember more than anything else, that man is afraid of going to jail. Everybody around him, Musk, his sons, the cabinet. So they are going to do any and everything, even as something as subversive as trying to stop mail-in voting. Pay attention to what's going on right now with United States Post Office and the recent change there. We got to call it out, but we got to offer people solutions. It can't just be an anti-Trump message. We have to offer people something more. And that's what I'm focused on in 2026. I'm focused on offering you all something more, something about what's next. How do we get out of this? Trump has already made his bed. That's going to resolve itself, however, it's going to resolve itself. What we all need to be focused on is what's next. That's where I'm at. I'm looking forward. That's what 2026 is about for me, is looking forward to continue to build the community with Security Brief. You might be getting a slight name change soon. I'll say more in a few days. But anyway, I just want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all for showing up, rocking with me, trusting me, my analysis. I do things a little bit different from other people. And I'm just grateful that you all appreciate what I have to offer in the new media space. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of me in 2026. But I've been talking for a very long time now, and I really need to go and rest my throat. But any questions? Thank you for the hearts, y'all. I appreciate it. Even if you don't have questions, I appreciate y'all being active. Hi, Levi. You just joined, and I'm just about to hop off. I've been talking for a while. My throat is hurting. But I will post, you'll get to see the playback. But it's cold. I've been outside too long. So let me get back in the house. Let me get back in the house because I swear, if I'm outside for longer than like 30 minutes, I cannot even, I have not been this sick in such a long time, and not being able to pick up the phone and call my mom or have my mom take care of me. Like, oh my God. Like, I had to be a big girl, being this sick and taking care of myself. But happy New Year to you too. Who's that? Sushi. Hey Cynthia. Oh, definitely always keep the faith. Faith is why I'm sitting here. Like, honey, whoo, my faith grew exponentially in 2025. And for me, when I talk about faith, I'm not necessarily talking about the, anyway, I don't want to get into that, but my relationship with God strengthened in ways that well, and maybe I'll talk about this with Melinda Hale because we're chatting on January 2nd. Maybe we'll get into this. I love talking about religion with her. Um, I genuinely do. I love talking about religion with Melinda. All right, y'all. So that's it. I'm about to head back to the house because I've been outside a little bit too long. It's cold, and I ain't trying to be too grown out here in these streets. I know I'm sick, so I'm gonna respect it and get my little self back in the house. But I just wanted to come outside and get my tea, and yeah, and get ready for the rest of my day and evening. You all have an amazing New Year's Eve. I wish I could be in New Orleans with Don Lemon. Uh, one thing I know about New Orleans New Year's Eve, y'all, it's cold as hell. One time I was home for New Year's, girl, it was like 2 degrees outside. Like I'm not even kidding. But anyway, have fun tonight, y'all. Be safe. Be grateful. Um, tell people you love that you love them because we made it through this hellish year. And honey, knives are going to be all the way out in 2026. All right. So love up on the people you need to love up on, y'all, because we going in 2026. This shit is real. All right. But we made it, y'all. We made it. We made it. And we got to take back our country next year. All right, y'all. I'm out.